Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Wellness Day, a podcast coming to you every Wednesday here from the Jahangir Wellness Center. My name is Kavas Jahangir, your host, and here we are at the JWC studio. Now, today I've got an extremely special guest. I'm honored to have Gaurav Natekar here today, who I've got a list of things that I can describe you to start with. You're a um, gold medalist in the Asian Games for tennis, seven-time national champion for India, represented us in the Davis Cup for tennis, many more things. And most recent is that you've got the World Pickleball League under your belt, amongst many other things. You're a pioneer in creating sports facilities in India. So, I can keep going on, but we have to actually get to hear from you. So, thank you so much for being here, Gaurav. It's a real pleasure and honor to have you.
Thank you. Absolutely, my pleasure to come on a very different but very important platform.
Absolutely, and it's actually a good point that you started on, because usually the guests that we've had here are very specific for wellness. Now, wellness is many things. We talk about fitness, we talk about nutrition, we talk about mental well-being, we talk about lifestyle. So we range a whole lot of things here at the Wellness Center, and that is holistic. But here, what is very special about today is that I've got someone who's on the extreme end, athletic end, or the elite end of the spectrum of wellness, so to speak. So, we'll come to your journey, but right now the fad or the entire world is talking about pickleball. So why don't we start there? First of all, congratulations! You just recently completed your first World Pickleball League championship in Mumbai. So congratulations on that. I know it was a huge success. But tell us about how it all started for you with pickleball specifically.
No, I think just want to touch upon the health and the mental wellness part.
Absolutely, yeah. We can
no, I
start.
think-
We can start there as well.
yeah.
I'm so excited about pickleball because I've been playing.
No,
it
we come
recently,
to
but-
pickleball.
Okay.
No, I think one of the points that gets missed out, especially in India, is
Yeah.
when people talk of health insurance, when people talk of putting CSR money into health. Right?
Yeah.
It's mostly associated with giving money to hospitals
Right,
or
right.
giving money to medical clinics, right? But in the West and now in India, I think people need to realize that sport is one of the best ways of course, staying physically healthy, but
Absolutely.
also mentally healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's one thing that COVID taught us is that, when we are confined, right, one of the best ways to actually get rid of, boredom and get rid of
Yeah.
your mental issues is to get up and start walking or running or exercising.
And something so simple as walking.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct. So I think that's what I wanted to really
Start
touch
with,
upon
yeah.
first is that I'm very glad that you invited me because, like you said, I'm sure you had the best doctors and the best
Right.
people from the medical field here. I don't know how many ex sports people you had, but very happy to be here
Absolutely, yeah.
and talk about it. And I guess that leads us to the pickleball and to the World Pickleball League. Look, I think that the World Pickleball League, we just completed season one.
Fantastic, I thought.
It is outside. It is a first global franchise-based a league.
Right.
It was done. So it was a pioneering effort. We had 6 teams from 6 cities. We had some very interesting team owners.
Yeah.
Thankfully by God's grace, it went really well. We wanted to give the spectators an experience of a real sportainment property.
Yeah.
I've always believed, and so has my wife Aarti, who's also played tennis for India. We've always believed that watching a sports event or even a show or a concert is not the best experience in India. And especially a sports event, the
Yeah.
bathrooms are not clean, spectators are not handled.
And we've seen that recently in the news as well. Yeah.
Exactly. And we wanted to change that. So we said that let's try and do it with a new game like pickleball, which is really going, hammer and tongs in India as well as in Asia.
Yeah. Everywhere in the world for that
Yeah.
matter. It just exploded. And we'll come to my question about why it's exploded in a second, but go on.
Yeah, and I think that's what we wanted to create. So we said, let's create a small but a nice intimate environment,
Yeah.
like what you have in the NBA, for example, where there are courtside seats, you have dugouts for the players and for the fans. We were lucky to get an iconic venue like the Brabant Stadium,
Fantastic.
Cricket Club of India, CCI, on the ground. First time after 17 years that a non-cricketing event has
taken
been
place,
there. All of these things kind of fell into place. And I think we're very happy with the response that it's got. And I think, we hope that not only does the game of pickleball grow, but generally India, and you would know this being in the business, that India's statistics as far as health are not exactly the best.
Yep.
One of the reasons could, of course, be the sheer population and the fact that, our people don't have access to medical facilities. But even the people who have access to the best medical
Right.
facilities, their parameters are pretty off. And, I think you can blame it on genetics up to a point, but
Well,
it is
lifestyle is a
also
huge amount.
lifestyle. It is also how, and I think that's what we've always kind of advocated is that, whatever you do, get that 15, 20, 30 minutes of exercise a
Absolutely.
day.
And in my opinion, pickleball has made that so accessible again for a lot of people.
Yeah.
You'd be the best to opine on that.
No, I think two reasons why it's really taken off
Yeah.
and will continue to take off.
Right.
I think that there are two types of people. People like me who are late 40s, early 50s, who, uh, of course, my journey was different because my dad was a world number 3 in badminton.
Badminton, right.
We played tennis. It was all part of growing up.
Yep,
But
yep.
for most of Indians, it was play some game till the 8th or 9th, and then 10th standard you got to start studying, and then they miss the whole bus of not only forget playing professionally but just playing a sport.
Yeah.
And I think for a lot of them, pickleball becomes a very, very easily
Easy,
accessible sport, from the fact that the infrastructure needed is just 1,800 square feet. The cost is not so much, and most importantly, it's a very, very easy game to learn.
Yeah.
And it is age agnostic. It is gender agnostic.
Completely.
Almost 40% women play it, so a whole family can actually go. I mean, with me and my wife's sporting backgrounds, we never had a situation where we could play with our cousins, my elder
Yeah,
sisters
yeah,
and stuff. And
absolutely.
about a year back, we just booked a couple of courts here in Pune, and there were 16 or 17 of us that went to play pickleball.
Right.
The youngest was my nephew, who was 7, and the eldest was my brother-in-law, who was 62.
Fantastic.
Right.
And all
We
playing
all
on the same court.
Yeah, we all
Lovely.
played on the same court for a couple of hours, and then we went out and had lunch together, and I think that this whole community aspect of pickleball is really what really makes it powerful.
Absolutely. And exactly what you're saying is a first-hand experience for me as well. In my family as well. My parents, they used to be squash players. And as you know, squash is a heavy game on the body. So unfortunately, they stopped playing after a certain age. But they suddenly picked up pickleball last year, and now they've been, or at least my dad more so, has been playing far from, or he's been playing nearly every day and things like that. And as you said, it's so easily accessible and pick it up. I started playing with him too. Now I played with him yesterday after a long, long time, and I haven't played for him for a couple of months, and he's been playing every day. And he completely demolished me on court yesterday, with winners and things like that. And I'm thinking that, or at least I can bench press more than him. But then straight after that, there's a topspin that comes from nowhere. So, but the heart of it is what is really is, I think, is what's made it successful, is that it's made it so accessible for the community and your family to take part of it, together. So that's something that's really, that's really nice, and something that you picked up on, and I think taken out in the league in that sense.
Yeah, it kind of fell into our lap, I
Yeah.
would say. We are in the business of sports infrastructure for the last 20 plus years. We do advisory and consulting for brands and companies that want to get associated with sport.
Right.
And the president of the All India Pickleball Association, I met him at an event where I
Okay.
was invited as a chief guest, and we were just sitting and chatting. And
Lovely, yeah.
we said that we had to do something for pickleball, and we thought that maybe a global league where Indians get a chance to play and then aspire to be in the league, right?
Yeah.
Is something that would work. But he really didn't have the resources or the wherewithals, and I said that let me give it a shot.
Shot,
And,
yeah.
one thing led to another, and
This is
here we
fantastic
are.
where it is. So congratulations again on that.
Thank.
But let's come back to your personal, journey in terms of your exercise and fitness and your, sportsmanship that's taken you where it is. Talk us through how you got to where you are, and what the kind of when let me put it this way, when you were at your peak, what is the kind of routine that you had? Why don't we start
So
there?
when we were at a peak, when it was off season, we used to, get up in the morning at 6 and hit the gym, or physical
Yeah.
training that involved gym one day, that involved wind sprints one day, it involved long distance running, plyometrics and a whole bunch of stuff that used to be 6 days a week for about 90 to 100 minutes
Okay.
typically. And then, of course, there would be the stretching out and the recovery and stuff. And then we would normally play from about 2 p.m. to about 6 p.m.
Wow.
4 hours in the afternoon was tennis, and 1.5 hours would be physical training. When you're competing and when you're playing in tournaments, it really depends on what time your match is the next day, whether you've played a match today, have you had a long match, a short match,
Right.
whether you feel comfortable with your technique, or whether you want to kind of go and practice a little bit more on your game, or whether you want to do some physical training. There's a lot of moving parts when you're
Of course.
actually in season and when you're playing. Since I stopped playing, I was exercising a lot, almost again 6 days a week.
Okay.
Again, between 75 to 90 minutes. And it was various stages, right? So for about 6, 7 years, I played football. Then
Oh, you did? Okay, wow. That's
then
a big
very
switch from
bad-
tennis.
Then I had a very bad injury where I almost lost my thumb.
Oh, wow.
Then, of course, the wife and everybody said, listen, take it easy.
Take it easy.
Then I took to badminton. But again, as you said, like squash and badminton are very high impact sports. So, being an former athlete, the competitive spirit never goes.
Yeah, exactly.
You want to try and win every point.
Right, yeah.
So I played that for about 4, 5 years. And then over the last 3, 4 years since COVID, I've also had a few niggling, back issues, wear and tear of playing. At the time we didn't have as much of sports science.
Yeah.
So over the last 3, 4 years, I've kind of focused on, keeping the body flexible, yet
Yeah, you're looking at longevity.
yet strong. Yeah.
Right.
And so 4 days a week is, or sometimes 5 days a week would be what I do. It would typically be a combination of swimming, body weight, and
Yeah.
band exercises, yoga, maybe once or twice
Right.
a week, and 2 days of the week I take complete rest.
Okay.
I think again,
That's so
sleep and rest is something that is very, very underrated and underestimated.
And finally, people are starting to appreciate that.
Yeah.
There's great studies that are coming out that are actually proving that.
Correct. So I think that's what I've been following. Also now with as one grows, I won't say older, but more experienced
Wiser.
or wiser. I think that trying to push your body to the limit when you're working out doesn't really help, because recovery is slow.
Yeah.
I find that come 2:30 or 3 p.m. my eyes start drooping if I've
Right.
worked out. It affects work, all of that. Also now socially, me and Aarti like to obviously step out. We've got a
Yeah,
bunch
that's
of
a part of wellness.
that's a part of wellness. So, trying to balance
Exactly, that's right.
all of that. And I think that I have found my I wouldn't say comfort zone, but a safe space, for lack of a better word, which is work out 4 times a week, and it could be anything. One thing is, which I think is very different from what I do, from what I hear my friends, was when I travel, I'm an early riser.
Yeah, me
So when I travel, I actually I'm able to exercise a little bit more in a slightly calmer environment, because when you're staying by God's grace, you're staying in good hotels.
Yeah,
The hotel
right.
has a good gym or a
Yeah, right.
But for a lot of my other friends, and I don't know whether you have that experience, but for them, when they're traveling, they can't seem to motivate themselves to work out.
Yeah.
For me, when I travel, I can actually experiment with.
I'm actually in your boat too.
Yeah.
If I go to a new city, for example, the best way I find that I learn about it is by running it.
Running, yeah. And if you're an early riser,
Exactly.
even if your first meeting is at 9:30, right?
Yeah.
And if you get up at 6:30 or whatever, 6:30, what do you do for those 3 hours?
Yeah,
Other
exactly.
than grabbing the phone and scrolling or
I'm
whatever.
completely with you.
Yeah, you'd much rather do that. So I think I found that safe space and that balance of it.
Well-
And yeah, I have to be aware of certain niggling injuries.
Of course. I mean, no one knows the body better than yourself. So that's the. But taking off that point, you're, as I said, you've been a pro athlete for most of your life. Now, most people aren't pro athletes. So, given your experience of this journey that you just spoke about and where you are today, what is the kind of advice that you'd give, someone who just wants to be active?
Look, I think that anything that interests you, and that's why one of the reasons I personally prefer to play a sport, and again why pickleball is so powerful and so great, is that because it's a very easy game to learn.
Yeah.
Even if you don't take proper coaching, right? Anybody who has even basic hand-eye coordination,
Yeah, absolutely.
in about 4 or 5 lessons or sessions, not even less.
I've seen people pick it up in half an hour, 45 minutes.
And then you can actually compete and play a game, right?
Yeah.
And finally, one plays sport to try and at least compete in a fun environment, right? I mean, go to the gym or running and everything is good, but you also want that social engagement,
Absolutely,
which
yeah.
also helps your mental health. So I would tell everybody that whatever it is that you like, and experiment, right? I mean, do walking one week, try running, try playing a sport, try going to the gym, whatever whatever gets your goat.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Just make sure that you know,
Enjoying what you're doing.
you enjoy what no, and also get up and start moving.
Yeah,
Basically,
absolutely.
right? And
Yeah.
it can be for 20, 30, 40 minutes depending on your capacity. But having that exercise, and I mean, I would recommend it in the morning. But I know a lot of people do it in the evening. But morning is when your body is most rested.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
endorphins are kicking.
Kicking, absolutely.
That freshness that you get, or that feeling of being alive that you get
Carry out
over-
throughout the day.
carries out throughout
Yeah,
the day.
yeah.
So I would tell everybody just get up and do some sort of activity 4 times a week,
Okay.
and
Lovely. Good. Yeah. So just stepping one step back and looking macro again, you talked about you being a consultant for infrastructure, for sports facilities in India and so forth. What are the aspects that you think that we really need to grow on and try and plug those gaps to make it accessible for more and more people?
I think that's a very interesting question, because when we started the infra business 2000 or thereabout.
Oh wow, it's been that long now.
Yeah, there was hardly any infrastructure. Then there was a real estate boom from
Yeah.
2002 to 2007-8.
Right.
Then, of course, a financial crisis came. But in that whole period, the real estate boom was so much. And then, of course, there was a lull. And then again, there was a boom. That every single, building or project, if you looked at their marketing material or their brochure, it would say clubhouse with
Yeah,
swimming
correct.
pool,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
And that clubhouse could be 100 square feet, and the swimming pool could be, I don't know, where you just take,
Little paddle.
little paddle pool or a splash pool. But from there, we have come to a space now where there's a lot of sports infrastructure. I think now is the second phase, which also, a sport like pickleball will face, is that now that there's so many courts being built, what about the soft skills? And
Yeah.
I think the coaches and the trainers and the teachers is now a big challenge.
Right.
I think education or educationists in our country, teachers in any industry, are unfortunately not given the right amount of respect.
Absolutely,
And,
yeah.
also from a remuneration perspective.
Right,
So I
right,
think
right.
today we are at a stage where the infrastructure will be built. India is going to be bidding for the 2036 Olympics.
Yeah. In fact, I was going to talk about the Olympics. That's also helped
So
us.
because of that, the trigger is going to be a lot of infrastructure. But if we don't keep pace with building the ancillary and the ecosystem around it, and
the
what is the ecosystem is the people, which is your coaches, your
Yeah, yeah.
trainers, the players. What are we doing for the players? Obviously, where else is the money going? Is it going into actual grassroots development? All of that is what is going to be needed as we go forward.
Right. Absolutely. Fascinating. It's been fascinating talking to you, Gaurav. So it's really, I can't describe what an honor it is to have you. And one thing again I forgot to mention is that you've been awarded the Arjuna Award as well, which is the highest sports honor that our country can award to anyone. So congratulations on that. I'm just, truly still in awe sitting in front of you. So thank you so much for being here. Any last words that you'd like to leave us with?
No, I think, like I said, everybody needs to, get out and play.
Yeah. Hopefully season 2 will be back soon.
Season 2 of the
Of
World
pickleball.
Pickleball League, yes, but before that, season 2 will take maybe 8 or 10 months. We will be doing a lot of, like I said, the loopholes that we need to plug. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of people entering the pickleball space, and unfortunately, some of them for not the right reasons.
Right.
And unless you grow the ecosystem, right, the game is not going to grow. And when the
Right.
game doesn't grow, nobody's going to benefit. It's not going to be commercially
Yeah,
viable.
yeah.
So one of the things that we are good, or a few of the things that we are going to be doing between season 1 and season 2 is to start activating, whether it's the, player development, whether it's grassroots,
Lovely, yes.
tournaments, whether it's, train the trainers program and all.
The infrastructure that we talked about earlier.
So a lot coming, going to keep us
Lovely.
very, very busy and keep us on our toes, but looking forward.
Well, we're fully behind you with that. So, I mean, congratulations again, and thank you so much for being here, Gaurav.
Thank you, Raj.
Thank you. Thank you all, and look forward to seeing you next week.